Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasyaadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adorations to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasistha, in Upashama Prakarana, section 28, and the story of King Bali's enlightenment continues. Story is highly allegorical. It is to give insight into soul's progress on the spiritual path leading to enlightenment. Every soul is Bali. And the Bali dominates three lokas. Bhur Bhuva Swa. The physical world, practical reality, the world of your feelings, and the world of your understanding. And Bali, in the storyline, the powerful demon king. The soul moves from the lowest plane, is a demon plane. So you can always identify the soul as a demon king. But he becomes the king of kings. Still his identity is a demon king. But that demon aspect is only to highlight that no matter how demoniac, enlightenment is completely free of the word demon, or even free of the word divine. It goes beyond. The Bali reaches that level. In a storyline, Bali was a righteous king, and due to his virtuous karmas, he developed aspiration. In a storyline, he suddenly remembered the teachings he had received from his father, King Virochana. When virtuous karmas progress, the good samskaras that you have developed, and they are hidden in your mind, those good samskaras surf up and they begin to help you. In the same house or room, you keep all types of books, Upanishads, recipe books, and some history books, and some historical books. Your mind is confused. You forget about those books that elevate you. But the same mind comes to a little softer stage, and suddenly your finger goes after those good ones that will inspire. simple way to explain this point. That's why I'm giving you this simple illustration. Similarly, Bali had that type of experience. Led by that, he practiced vichar. Vichar is a subtle inquiry and a process of affirmation. Affirmation, nishchaya. You allow your mind to work calmly. And through the mind, you begin to figure out, who am I? But ordinary way, mind goes on creating its nishchaya. This food is more tasty for me, that food is not. This is more nutritious, this is called nishchaya. You are mentally evaluating and come to a conclusion in your evaluation. But now that process of nishchaya is you are applying towards a mystical search. Who am I? Figuring out your own identity. And led by scriptural teachings, and when he remembered how his father told him, based on all that, he began to work upon, I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect, I am not the ego. I am Satchidananda. And it's all elaborately we have described. I am all this. Now this is the stage of Bali. He has entered into deep samadhi led by his vichar movement. In that stage, now we will continue and we'll see how things happen. Shri Vasishtha continued, O Rama, seeing that King Bali had lingered long, because he didn't come out from his palace. In the upper story of palace, he has entered into samadhi. The ministers, the associates, all those who work with the king, they are all waiting. And since he has lingered long, the attendants of the king became concerned. They hastily ascended to the uppermost story of the palace. Among them were the generals of the demon army, as well as gods such as Kuvera, Yama, Indra, who wanted to pay their tributes to the king. Your personality is the palace. A palace that has gods. As when we talk about the Da mantra, by practicing Dhamma, control of mind and senses, you are allowing God's aspect in you to be praised, to become glorious, to be recognized. You allow the godly aspect to win. And by acts of charity, dhan, you allow human value to flourish and blossom. And the last da, controlling your cruelty and changing it, transforming it into compassion. The word Sanskrit, daya. That allows the demons to become passive. The same terrible animals, when they become passive, they become very cozy. So that's the picture of Bali. Cozily, the demons come towards him. The gods come towards him. They're all missing him. Try to understand the deeper meaning behind. Otherwise, it is just a bigger story. Even the celestial nymphs, as well as the damsels of the court, join the train. Not only these gods, but all celestial apsaras. Apsaras are various feelings, sentiments. All those sentiments, many sentiments are involved in all the three planes. All those sentiments, they are all coming as celestial nymphs. They all come. And what they see, Bali is in a state of profound meditation. Having approached Bali, who was seated like a painted picture, the attendants of the king bowed their heads in reverence, and seeing him in a state of statue-like stillness, they were overcome with amazement and grief. It's allegorical, just to bring out the description of what Bali was experiencing. What is samadhi? And what does samadhi do? Your whole personality is a big palace. You have gods in your head. You have demons in your personality. And you have human values, all. All of them, if you go into samadhi, all of them miss you. What will happen to them? That's the picture presented in an allegorical way. Then, in order to seek guidance, they invoke the presence of their preceptor, sage Shukracharya, who, being the all-pervading Atman, appeared before them. Subtle insight into this comes by Guru. Shukracharya is the Guru. And they invoke Guru, and his grace begins to guide them about what's happening to Bali. In a storyline, Shukracharya appears. Being honored by the demons and gods, sage Shukracharya, seated on a sofa, observed the divine state of King Bali. First, he, like a doctor looking at a patient, looks at him, diagnosed him, and he came to the conclusion that Bali has attained samadhi. With his countenance lit up with a smile, he said to all those who were there, as a result of his spiritual inquiry, which are practice of vichar and Vedantic meditation, the king has passed into the blessed state of samadhi. The mist of ignorance has dissolved from the firmament of his heart. Bhavana Shuddhi, all the feelings become purified. And that results in Vasana Kshaya. All the vasanas, subtle desires that are obstructive to your enlightenment, they melt away or they become sublimated. The mist of ignorance has dissolved from the firmament of the heart. and he has been awakened from the long dream of the world process. Realization is awakening. You have not created anything by your sadhana that is new. All your sadhana is only to lead yourself to the state of awakening. You are wandering in your dreams, and you are also very proud of having achieved many wonderful things in your dream world. But all this time you have been sleeping and experiencing dream. And your mind is working for gaining more and more. But when you wake up, that attitude of the mind to gain more and more, that attitude moves away. When you wake up, you recover what was already there. Your dream karma did not produce your bed on which you are lying. All your karmas do not produce liberation. Liberation is your ultimate bed. And the profound one is the bed of eternity. Therefore, O ye attendants of the king, please do not try to awaken him from this blessed state. Now, this is another practical point. Enlightened one in the beginning stage seems like have become withdrawn from the world. And that's the way described. One sage goes into deep samadhi, and now there comes a stage of awakening from samadhi. That awakening from samadhi here has to be spontaneous. There should be no effort involved. Put it in a very simple way to understand. A flower has blossomed, but all the fragrance is sleeping within it. The awakening is a spontaneous move. Nothing you need to do. Wait. The silence of the night, the buds will simply chuckle up a little and begin to waft the fragrance. Figure that out. What's being highlighted is sahaj movement, spontaneity. In all worldly gains, that sahaj state is not there. You gain something, now you have to muscle up to put many ducks together to maintain your prosperity. So he said that he will himself wake up from this state in the course of time. In the meantime, attend to the management of the kingdom by performing your respective duties. Put it in a more profound way to understand. When you become enlightened and you experience samadhi, from samadhi level of sudden change that has happened, a harmony has to come when you begin to operate with your body, mind, and senses. That harmonious connection happens in a spontaneous. So sage, having attained enlightenment for himself, he has concluded the purpose of his life. But his personality continues, led by prarabdha karma, the fructifying karma for that particular embodiment, has to run its course. So while prarabdha karma is running its course, enlightened sage, though he is one with Brahman and has no need to work with the world now is viewed by him as a dream, as a leela. So no matter how things happen, it's praise to God. Terrible things can happen. Jesus on crucifixion turned to God. And so much so, forgive them, for they know not. What I'm leading you to understand, that one who enlightened one becomes this exemplary for the masses. The world receives tremendous inspiration for the enlightened person, from enlightened personality. But if in enlightenment he simply had vanished, then there will be no role for scriptures, satsangs, and there will be terrible confusion. So every enlightened person implies that even though he is in one communion with God, he is one with God, yet he goes on dealing with so many things, and all his actions become inspiring. Prarabdha operates in three ways. Swacha prarabdha, certain things that are according to one's own, sage's own choice. Every person has its own choice of how things should be. Next, parecha prarabdha. Sage has no plan, but suddenly a group of disciples come or friends come, and they have planned for a big lecture or something. And sage personality goes into it. And there are anicca prarabdha. You didn't plan for hurricanes or terrible rains, but sometimes they come and smash the ashram, create lots of problems. Called anicca prarabdha. Prarabdha operates in all the three ways in every individual. Some prarabdha is just so agreeable that you feel just wonderful about it. Some prarabdha is shaky ground, based on what others have led you to do. It can be very good as well. And then there are prarabdha that are anicca. You don't want to age, unless you are a sage. But it's anicca. It's not in your control. So, while masses, those who are not enlightened, they go through their prarabdha in these three ways, and all the while they're creating karmas for another embodiment, and that process goes on and on. So it repeats in every embodiment. In the case of a sage, this is the last time. But the picture is the same. Prarabdha will operate exactly the same way. A sage's nose will be exactly the same after enlightenment. Nothing will change. Prarabdha will operate exactly. Having heard the words of the sage, the attendants continued with their duties, and the gods and other beings went to their respective abodes. They all became relaxed. Section 29. Bali attains liberation in life. Sage Vasishtha continued, O Rama, King Bali continued to be immersed in samadhi for 1,000 celestial years. Not human years, celestial years. That will require a lot of calculation. After which he was awakened to normal consciousness by the beating of heavenly drums by the gods. They were beating all the time, but he continued in the state of samadhi. And all the celestial people, as if continued to wait for 1,000 years. Try to understand now what actually is being said. A purposeful attainment in life, mind pictures it in the terms of long duration of time. Something very good you have attained, and then you look at the friend who is asking how long it took you. It's a long, long time. So every attainment has a time implied behind it, allegorically speaking. Now, samadhi attainment transcends time. So, if one has entered into samadhi and you are trying to describe in the terms of time, then thousands of years have become few moments of samadhi. The samadhi experience of Bali went on for 1,000 years. The 1,000 years are not exactly, because it will be impossible for a practical reality that his kingdom will survive. And all his attendants will be there still waiting for him to come back. But the idea behind it, what you gain, the happiness you can collect for in 1,000 years, he collected it within moments of his samadhi, as if he passed through 1,000 years. Figure that out. And the awakening stage is also allegorical. Awakening stage is now another angle of attaining liberation. Liberation has two angles. One, you are beyond body, mind, intellect, senses. Nada. All is negated. Next, you are all permeating reality. Even the cuckoos and the birds are singing your praises. And the entire nature is glorifying. Two-aspected description. Allegorically, one stage is as if samadhi and you are just rock-like. Next stage, wake up. And now you are facing the beating of drums by gods and apsaras dancing and all types of things. And the whole world waiting to welcome. His city, which had become like a withering lotus in his absence, now bloomed with delight, much as the lotus does with the rising of the sun. These two together give you a substantial description of enlightenment. Enlightenment is not just pictured beyond everything. It has another picture. All the beautiful things and the glory and the power expressing through the universe. Rather, universe is singing one verse in praise of that God. Having recovered normal consciousness, now the state of Sahaj Samadhi. Sahaj Samadhi is that state where both have become blended. Internally, nothing exists. Externally, all is the I am. King Bali reflected thus, "Oh, how wonderful is this state of bliss which I have enjoyed. Immersed in bliss, I pass through such a long duration of time as if it were only a moment." That again just allegorical. Allegorical means that pressure of time comes to your mind when you are not happy. But when you are happy, time flies. And in profound happiness, time dies. Let me again enter into this same state of superconsciousness. What have I to do with the transient prosperities of the world? This type of description comes in scriptures. Even Buddha, when he attained nirvana, he got into a little dealing with his decision. What have I to do with this world now? But then his compassionate heart suddenly brought, let me inspire every soul to attain nirvana. But in the beginning, he created a little switch in his mind. Shouldn't I stay in nirvana? I have nothing to do with the world. But then his own conscience spoke out and made him decide not to vanish from the world, but to stay in the world for the sake of bringing enlightenment to others, leading people to nirvana. All this discussion is allegorical to explain how enlightened state is the best solution to all problems of this world. Yes. encourage soul to attain enlightenment. In that movement, you have the key to all that is best for the culture, for humanity, for peace, for harmony, for progress. The secret behind all types of real prosperity lies in the life of saintly personality. And that again is like fragrance coming out of it. A saintly personality doesn't simply bring out the teaching through words, but his existence, the love radiating from his heart, his presence, and dynamic radiations that emanate from him, they go on touching humanity for a long, long time. Even the nectarine moon does not give as much delight to the surging ocean as does the bliss of samadhi to my mind. I am enjoying boundless bliss and I am immersed in supreme peace. This is the goal of life. I have no need to desire for liberation because I have discovered the fact that bondage is illusory. Sadame samatvam na muktir na bandha. Shankaracharya's statement, I am always the same. There is neither bondage nor release for me. The state of enlightenment brings you to that level. The idea that you must have you forgotten your sadhana for liberation? That question doesn't arise for a sage. The sun doesn't desire to be liberated. It's already full of light. So when you discover who am I intuitionally, not the ego I am, the real I am that, when that discovery comes, the question of liberation doesn't arise in the mind. Because liberation is not an attainment led by karma. Liberation is revelation. Sun is already there and you are not experiencing. When cloud moves away, sun is already there. And then you realize the sun had no bondage and there was no need for release. But there was a time when you used a kid's type of mentality and seeing the cloud veiling the sun, you started praying, oh God, free the sun from this devilish cloud. You worked hard and prayed and prayed. And then the cloud moved away and the sun shone. But your prayer didn't do anything. Sun was never in bondage. There was no need for its release. So that's the subtle point behind your innermost reality. That's what you are. I am that. That I am that is like the sun. absolute reality. The clouds created by your mind's illusion, they obscure and create a fictitious identity in your personality. That identity goes on changing. For in every embodiment, you have a different name, different personality. Even in single embodiment, you have different stages. You are like book-size edition. It's babyhood. The hood goes on changing. So I have no need to desire for liberation, because I have discovered the fact that bondage is illusory. Where there is no bondage, how can there be liberation? Bondage and liberation are for the ignorant alone. I am illumined by knowledge. The veil of ignorance that obstructed the vision of my essential self has been torn asunder. Now, neither do I desire for meditation, nor do I desire for the absence of meditation, and neither desire for the enjoyments of the world, nor do I desire for abandoning them. Think of for easy understanding. You have been dreaming. In dream, you have been tortured and led to high and low. But you came to the stage in your dream to discover, this is a dream, and I have nothing to do with it. The moment you have come to recognize it is a dream, and you are not really involved, you may be falling down from a roof, but you are watching from another angle that this is the dream and nothing is really happening. But look what's going to happen to this deep body. It's a curiosity. So no matter what happens, it's called Leela. You are looking at the world as a Leela. So therefore, nothing really affects you. I abide in the self, wherein my vision is ever balanced in all conditions. Samatva buddhi. My mind is ever rooted in the awareness. Aham Brahmasmi. Brahman alone is real. Though detached from the body, I am not dead. Yet being detached from the vital forces, I am not said to be alive. I am neither dead nor alive, neither gross nor subtle, neither existent nor non-existent. This is a description of bhav pratyaya. All your experiences of existence, non-existence, dead and alive, all these are created by projections. It's like you watch a cinema show. All that you are seeing, life, death, gain, loss, positive, negative, they are projections. They are not reality. The I am is the screen behind all the projection. That I am remains unaffected. No matter what type of projection the screen displays for the audience, terrible things. A kid goes after seeing what's happening after the show is over. Big battle went on and so many people were crushed and killed. And a kid goes to touch the screen to find even the slightest trace. The screen has no trace. The reality of you, the I am, is untouched, unscarred, no matter how the mind has played its drama. This point has to be understood. If it is not there, there is no hope for liberation. This body, as well as all the objects of the world, do not belong to me. The bodies of others, as well as those of different worlds, do not belong to me. I am the innermost self. Adorations unto me. Nothing exists, nothing belongs to me. I am neither mind nor body, immortal self am I. To that I, adoration. Thus, having reflected deeply upon the illusory nature of the world, Bali no longer found the need of rejecting the world or of being immersed in samadhi. Now that question of we have to negate the world, you have to detach, you have to go away into a seclusion, all that doesn't arise. State of enlightened mind is like the sky. The sky has no concern for whether the clouds should be noisy or whether it should be wonderful, soft. No matter how they are, the sky is welcoming them all. The saintly state of understanding doesn't look at the world according to ego's evaluation. The entire world is creating a leela of God's, in God's hands. You see people suffering from mortality, dying. In a higher point of view, souls are throwing off old clothes, putting on new dress, fashion. So with that type of vision, the sage is not looking at the world, always the world of confusion and world that brings out lots of tension every day. Sage is not looking like that. But while I'm speaking of advanced state of sage, the lesson that is being given is keep that in view. So even though it feels like something terrible, allow a little room in your mind that it will pass away, that it has a purpose. And when it passes away, you will discover yourself in a higher level. When you have thrown away a painful dress that was tightening your wrist, you are going to feel better. So all adverse situations have their purpose. And so you go on working for with that idea and understanding and the nishchaya that I am the self. To make it easy movement, you go through 3 stages. I am in the hands of God. So all your works go on, you are serving God. Bring that type of a sacred attitude towards your activities. Otherwise, day by day, you are creating impressions of boredom. Every day I'm doing the same thing. Others are enjoying better jobs. No, you are in the hands of God. You are eating every day and then you don't complain. So why should you complain about circumstances? But that doesn't mean that you accept them. If they are hurting you, use your self-effort. Utilize all your energy, all your intelligence. Do your self-effort in all detail. But what you cannot do, leave it in God's hands. So that type of first level. Second level, from Jiva point of view, soul point of view, I am a ray and you are the sun. God is like the sun and you are a ray of the sun. Now you are matching up with God. So every now and then, as if compete with God. Become godly. Third level, there's nothing but God. I am that. Bringing these 3 in your personality, that's the great ideal of all religions of the world. Therefore, having renounced the subtle desires of the mind, he continued to rule his kingdom in the most elegant manner possible. And under his rule, the kingdom became increasingly prosperous. It's called Rama Rajya. Rama having conquered Ravana, he came back and his kingdom flourished. That's a storyline, allegorical. Liberated sage, having attained liberation, now enriches the world around him by his spiritual presence, vibrations, touching different souls, because he is a channel of the divine source. And with this I'm concluding. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukuma Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyant Ma Kashchid Dukha Bhag Bhavet Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Ramaya Namah. Om Namah Shivaya.